What's up, everybody? Peter Ariz here with Chase Romero, here with Group Chat Sports, and we are breaking down the groups for Euro 2024. Already went through Group A, now taking a look at Group B here. And Chase, it's another very, very tough group from top to bottom. Well, listen, the bottom, we'll talk about that. I don't know how strong Albania is, but
little minnows.
Really, I mean, not going to be a tough out either way, I don't think. And you start with Spain, you have Croatia, Italy, and Albania. So, of course, two traditional blue bloods, right, in Spain and Italy here in this group. And then Croatia, one of the toughest outs in international football in these big competitions, obviously. But we'll start with Spain. A different look Spain, some young talent infused into this squad, but you still have Rodri in the middle, best midfielder in the world, best defensive midfielder in the world, you could say, and a team that has a ton of talent, top to bottom. I'm not sure about the depth, but let's just go through it.
Yeah, Spain. I mean, Spain. What can we say about Spain? They've been playing amazing. They're lights out. Their offense has been amazing. They've got a great keeper. They got a great defense. I mean, I just think they're a great team. I mean, they got Yamal on the right side. The kid's been. I mean, I hate Barca, but the kid's been. I can't deny his talent, man. He's 16. He's balling. He's on the right wing. He's making grown men look silly on a regular basis, week in, week out in La Liga. Nico Williams. I mean, the guy's just been playing out of his mind this year. And I mean, Morata. I mean, that's the only guy that I feel like is, like a wild card for them. Can he show up? Because his season this year wasn't great.
Give me Joselu, man.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer Joselu too. I mean, I think Morata has, he has a little bit more of the international experience, and he has a little bit more pedigree because he did help them get there. Like he was scoring goals in the qualifiers. It's just this season, at least for club level, he's been hit or miss and a lot more miss. So, I mean, I feel like he's the wild card, but I mean, like you said, Rodri, that guy. I mean, I don't think he lost a game all year. Yeah, I think his last one he lost was
the Man U game there.
Yeah, that was the last one because technically they don't count the PK loss to Real Madrid as a loss. But yeah, I mean the guy's been crucial to Man City's success. He was probably one of their best players last year too. I mean, the squad's stacked. They got Carvajal on the right back. I mean,
left backs, they have a decision to make. I mean, I don't think it's much of a decision. I think Grimaldo should start, but some Spanish media are saying that they favor Cucurella, which, look, he had a strong end of the season for Chelsea, and maybe it's a tactical thing. Maybe Grimaldo, obviously very attack-minded, so maybe they're looking for something a little bit more stable defensively. But with the season he just had, listen, I know international football is different, right? You have to make things fit in with the squad. It's a little bit different, right? But he, to me, with the form that he's on, you have to play him. You have to start him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's been lights out for Leverkusen, but I mean, we don't know what goes on in the locker room. Maybe the coach doesn't like him. Maybe he's not training as hard. I don't know. Maybe like you said, they need more defense than offense to cover for Carvajal because Carvajal does bomb that wing. So again, who knows? But I just think this team's stacked. We love that. We love this team. They're going to score goals and they're going to play great defense. So
now next up we have Croatia, which again, we understand this team is always one of the toughest outs in international football. Some big names. Obviously, everyone knows about Luka Modric. Is this his final big, international competition? Most likely. Josko Guardiola. We saw him continue to have great success this year in his first year with Man City. He really burst onto the scene during that World Cup a couple years ago, but we see him continue to evolve as an offensive threat as well for City. But look, I think this is going to be again, a team that in the midfield, you understand what they are with Modric, with Kovacic, Brozovic, right? Shout out to the Saudi League.
Al Nassr, baby.
And then up top, do they have the firepower? Not that much pace, but you understand what you're getting with this team.
Yeah, I mean they're a Grizzly veteran, like this team finds ways to win. They're always getting out of their groups. They're always getting to qualifiers. They got robbed by Argentina in the World Cup. I mean, they're just a good team, like a team. But I just feel like they're getting up there in age. Modric is not going to be able to put in those 90-minute performances where he's taking over the game and winning the Ballon d'Or. I mean, that's in the past. They're not going to do that. He's not going to do that anymore. They have a decent midfield behind him, but I mean, is it really like world beating? Is it the best team ever? No, but I mean, like you said, Guardiola, like that. I mean, he's been insane. Like towards the end of the season, he looked like a center forward up there, or like a winger at one point. Like he was just making all these goals. He scored like 5 goals like in 6 games. It was just crazy for City. But again, they're a good team. They're Grizzly veterans. They've got the experience behind them. They know the game. They know the Euro. Do I think they're going to dominate anybody? No, I don't think so. I think they have a good defense. They have a good mindset, but I don't know how they're going to score that many goals. Like their offensive firepower is kind of, on the lower end. So can they get out of this group? I think so. Will they be second? I don't know. There's so many factors here and different things that could happen. Of course, they could beat anybody in this group. They could also lose to anybody in this group, and that's how I feel about them.
Stanisic is another name defensively to look at, and he can get forward as well. But understand what they're going to do. He balled
out this year too.
Yeah, he had an awesome
for Leverkusen. Yeah,
awesome year. Still a Bayern Munich player, but I mean had a really, really good year. Next up here, Chase. This is going to be, I think, one of the most, I don't want to say heavily scrutinized, but like this could go either way with them, right? I think this Italy squad, we understand their history. They won it last Euro and no one expected that to be the case. And here you see Gigi Donnarumma, who was the player of the tournament last go around. Defensively, this guy should be really, really, really strong. Spalletti, in his first major tournament with Italy, obviously was at Napoli a couple seasons ago, led them to great heights. Loaded team at certain positions, but up top, Chase, I think they're really, really lacking that consistent scoring threat.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a hard team to predict because you don't know what they're going to do. Like, I mean, they're a team that maybe, in the qualifiers and friendlies, they don't get up to the game. But I feel like in tournaments, like it's the Italian way. There is no one else. There's one thing, like nobody thinks they're gonna win this tournament. Nobody's saying that they're a favorite. Nobody's saying that they're gonna get out of this group or dominate this group. So I almost feel like the Italians might take that as a slap in the face and they might show up. They might actually have some fire behind them because no one. I mean, they're playing a huge underdog. This is, to them at least, is super disrespectful. They just won the last Euro, and like you said, there isn't like somebody up front that is consistent, but Scamacca. Sorry. I've always liked him. I liked him when he went to West Ham, but he didn't really do anything there. But once he came back and he played for Atalanta this year, bro, he was on fire. I mean, Europa League, they won because of him.
I think he has 1 goal and 15 caps with Italy, which is a concern.
But I don't think he started all those games either. Like he's not necessarily, he wasn't like their lead talisman. And honestly, he wasn't necessarily setting the world on fire before this year either, So
Chiesa, they need him to step up. He did not have a good season, good end of the season there for Juventus. You understand what they have in the midfield. Yeah. They have class there. They have very high quality there.
Yeah.
And defensively, up the wings, man. Di Marco, Di Lorenzo, then you should be pretty strong. I would expect them to play with 3 or 5 at the back, however you want to call it. But they have some young studs there. Calafiori, Buongiorno, I mean Bastoni. So you have some real big time talents there, as they seem to always have defensively.
But are they going to show up? Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think their defense is great, but sometimes they've had mental lapses. They're letting in goals. I mean, they're just not all. They're not unified.
I just don't see that creative player on the ball for this team, right?
And a lot of my Chelsea friends will know Jorginho's the least creative player, just plays him sideways. I mean, but he's there for a reason. He's going to control that midfield and he's going to play defensively. But yeah, like you said, I mean, maybe they grind out some wins. Maybe they don't. Maybe they win every game. This is just to me, one of the hardest teams to read going into the tournament. But
and it doesn't make it easier considering that Spain's gonna be a very tough game for them. Croatia is going to be a very difficult game. And then Albania, you should get 3 points there. But those other two games, there's no way you can just look at it and say, they're winning.
Their last friendly, which was 2 days ago, I think, versus Turkey.
Yep.
Yeah, they 0-0 Borefest, not a lot of shots taken on both sides. I mean, they were experimenting with formation a little bit and players, but I mean, they haven't really been showing that they're this Italian team that's going to defend the title,
Now, the final team in this group here, Albania, Chase, and look, they did finish second in their qualification group, but I don't expect this team to really be much of a threat in this group.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to spend too much time on this team. A team that draws.
Shout out to Armando Broya, our boy Josh, his biggest fan. Working on getting you the signed Broya kit, and hopefully, it's in the mail. So hopefully we have it soon for you.
I do have a couple Broya rookie cards too. They're pretty much worthless now, but Albania. I mean, they drew what to the Faroe Islands. They're not.
They drew back in November, Faroe Islands. I mean, look, it was the last game of the qualifying for Euros, but at the end of the day, look at some of the recent results here. They beat Albania or beat Liechtenstein 3-0, but
that's expected. I feel like
back in March, lost 1-0 to Sweden, who of course didn't qualify for this competition. Lost to Chile 3-0, and then again draws to Faroe Islands and Moldova. So looking back here, before this win a couple days ago, their last win internationally was back in October 2023. So can't say that they're coming in here flying high.
Yeah, no disrespect to my Albanian brothers, but I mean, I just don't see it with this team. They're getting mixed results. I mean, they do have a great mentality and one of those teams, but that have that kind of mentality coming in, but they don't have the players. I mean, Broha is great. I like him a lot, but I just don't see him carrying this team by himself.
Agreed.
And it's a tough group. I mean, they just got a bad draw. I mean, they could have been in a much easier group. Maybe they get some points, but I just don't see it versus these three great teams, All
right, now let's get to the fun here as we predict this group. Chase, let's pull up the little graphic here. Now, walk me through it. Who do you have finishing first?
Okay. I mean, I was flip-flopping, but I'm going to go with Spain. Again, they're hot. They're coming in hot. They have offensive firepower, and they're great defensively. So I just see them being able to take points off Croatia and Italy, or maybe they draw to Italy, but they're going to beat the other two teams. So I just think Spain just has that much creative force on offense and enough, stout defenders where they're just gonna pretty much take this group 7 or 9 points. All
right, this is a tough one right here, and this was one of the most difficult decisions of the entire thing for me.
Yeah, and it was difficult for me too. But I'm going to go Italy just because I mean they do have some injuries and their team, hasn't been playing out of this mind. But one, I give them a boost because their coach, and he's a great coach, Belletti. He's a well-known tactician, and he's won Serie A. And he knows what he's doing. And I just think they have a lot of offensive firepower and defensive firepower. Um, and I think they beat Croatia, so that's why I got them at number 2. So then third, I got Croatia. Again, they're just getting too old. They're not peaking. They peaked in 2018.
They're peaking.
In 2018, or was it 2018 World Cup? I mean, that was their pinnacle, their golden generation peak, and I just think it's going downhill right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, the only difference that I think we have here is that I have Croatia finishing above Italy. I just listen, something about the Italian side I don't trust without a true consistent scorer on that team, because I think that game against Croatia will be an ugly one. Excuse me. And I think that game suits better for Croatia than it does Italy. But that's just me. So that's the only difference that we have there is I would have Croatia finishing above Italy. But I think this is one of those groups where the third team advances.
Yeah.
And I think Italy and Croatia will both still get out because I think they'll both beat Albania. They'll get their points there. And then do one of them get a draw from Spain?
They could both go through. I mean, with 4 points, or you never know.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Group B predicted should be another great group there. These first 2 groups, man, they're real barn burners. A bunch of nice matchups there, and we'll keep you guys updated. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media. Appreciate everyone for watching today.